Okay, so welcome to our ANZCRL Combined Racing Leagues. This is just a trial stream ready for our Daytona 24 hours. We're running this weekend. And there we're looking at TrplRotarRacing currently. And the LMP2 cars. He's just come out on his outlap. So this is going to be an hour session from 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock at night. And we're going to basically on the weekend from Saturday from 3 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time, New South Wales Victorian Time Zone. We're going to be broadcasting our start to our Daytona 24-hour race. It's going to be a 6-hour in total driving sessions for our drivers. The majority of our, got 13 sign-ups, 11 teams, or actually teams of 2, and we've got 2 drivers doing it solo. So most of the drivers are going to be sharing the driving duties between 4 sessions. So the first session that we're going to be running will be an hour session, and with a race time of starting at I think it's 3 p.m. In game time, and that will be a ×2 progression. So that'll run it down till 5 p.m. So that's the first 1 hour ×2 progression. So that's the first session. And those guys will then have a break, and we'll be back around about 7 o'clock to continue our second session, which will be a 2-hour time session. And how we restart that grid will be basically use the finishing positions from session 1, and all their times are adjusted to a time compression formula. So it'll bring the field back together. Closer. So usually what we've found before is cars that are around about 3 laps down, roughly around here at Daytona, will still find themselves just on the lead lap after the time compression. So we've got the 2 classes of LMP2 and GTE cars. So yeah, it just keeps interest for all our racers. So if they have a little bit of an incident during their driving stint, their session, they push on and hopefully limit that damage once the time compression comes in ready for the next session. So basically, as we said, that'll come back in around 7:30 on the Saturday night, Australian Eastern Daylight Time, and that session we see it's starting from 1700, so that's 5 p.m. With a 2 hours ×5, so that'll run all the way to 3 a.m. in the morning in game time. So we find the race is going to be dry. We've got medium cloud and overcast skies for that session 2. The first session was actually medium cloud. So basically that will, after the Saturday, session 1 and session 2, that'll equal a total of 12 hours of actual in-game progression time and 3 hours driving time. And then on the Sunday, we start again and we do it all over again from 9 o'clock in the morning on the Sunday, the 16th. And that's Australian Eastern Daylight Time again. So the guys will be hopping in the car for session 3 at 3 o'clock in the morning in game time. And that's another 2-hour session, ×5 progression. So that'll see it running from 3 o'clock in the morning all the way to 1 p.m. in the afternoon. So 1300 hours in game time. And we're looking at overcast skies into basically get to clear skies in that session, that 2-hour session. And then basically those first 3 sessions, the guys will be aiming to buy their ticket into the final session for the 1-hour final time race with a ×2 progression. That's weather is clear, so that's basically running from 1300 to 1500 hours. So 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. And we start that session on the Sunday at 2 p.m. and we'll finish at 3 in total. And hopefully by then we'll have our class winners. We have the overall winner in the LMP2 car. We've got the defending champion SSHADZZ. He's teaming up this year with Finish. So they're pretty much well, they're not favourites at this stage, but they've been showing, both Loft and SSHADZZ have showed some pace. But the ones that could be a dark horse who's been showing a lot of pace so far is Dark Racing 40 in the number 43 RGR Sport Ligier. All the LMP2 cars are the Ligier JS-P2 Nissans. Everyone's chose the Nissan. So they'll be all looking at there's 5 LMP2 cars signed up, but Dark Racing's teamed up with Gear 3 Gaming, so it'll be interesting to see how they go. As I said, Dark Racing has been the guy that's been the fastest in that team at the moment, and fastest overall in our practice sessions that we've done. And the other guys that could really come out in top that we're not too sure of at the moment are these guys here. We're looking at Lockie 55s. He's in the number 3 JPS's Sim Shed Ligier Nissan, and he's joined in with a very fast Sato 15. So Lockie's obviously main aim of this is to keep the car nice and straight, and also amongst the battles, because he's got the pace to be within striking distance of anything going wrong. So just hopefully their car can stay out of trouble for that 6 hours, and they could find themselves either on the top step of the podium or nearby. But as you can see, Lockie has just gone fastest in this session. So he's got that number 3 JP Simshed Ligier Nissan firing at the moment. Just to give, he's done a 136.924. Fastest so far in all the practicing we've done has been from Dark Racing 40, and he managed a 1 minute 34.672 in that number 43 RGR Sport he's sharing with Gear 3 Gaming. And not too far away was actually SSHADZZ. He's actually the defending champion, winner of the Daytona 24 Hours, and also our inaugural Triple Crown winner. He's by winning basically the Daytona 24, Le Mans 24, and also our Bathurst 1000. So he's won all those to gain himself our Triple Crown award, which he got last year. A nice little glass trophy. And his time that he's done is basically 600th of a second off from Dark Racing on a 35.276. So that's very competitive with Dark Racing. And we know SSHADZZ can just run constant laps very fast, and not too far behind is obviously Loft Finish. He's done a 35.699, so very, very good indeed for our strong team, both SSHADZZ and Loft Finish. I'll just have a break for a sec. I'll just got to join another party, and I'll leave this on by looking at we'll look at actually Hot Right Sower. He's one of the fastest in the GTE category, and Right Sower's in the number 15 team FU Racing Ford GTE LM car, and he's teaming with his mate RSJ 37. He's been doing some super quick times, doing a 42.043. All these times have been absolutely smashing our previous records from previous years. This is our 3rd year running the Daytona 24 Hours. You can find all our archive results and trophy winners and everything over at our website at AUS-AUSCRL.weebly.com. I'll be back in a minute. Sorry about that, guys. Anyone that's watching. But yeah, so basically here we are. We're looking at Right still. And he's topping the charts at the moment with a 42.821. Not his quickest yet. As we said, he's managed a 42, almost a 42 flat. When we did the Raw Before the 24 Session 2 last Saturday. So let's just go through the field and have a look at some of these guys. We've already seen Lockie 5.5s in the number 3 JP Simshed LMP2 car. And here we're looking at Jetto 13. Now he's in that nice, you can't miss it, that pink and black car. It does show up with that pink nose, but he's in the number 35 Oak Racing Ligier, and he's sharing his duties. I'm not too sure actually who he's teamed up with, to tell you the truth. With Night Pegasus, sorry. I haven't got that in there. So Night Pegasus and Jetto together. So Jetto's showing some nice pace there, and Pegasus can keep the car nice and straight. So they're going to be in for a good showing come the weekend. And as I said, it's we've got 3 hours. I mean, not 3 hours, 3 sessions. So they're going to find themselves 5 hours of racing before they get to that final session on Sunday, where that ticket is waiting for everyone. Everyone's just vying to be on that same lap for that last hour session, and that's where all the action will definitely be. But it'd be worthwhile tuning in for all the other sessions throughout the weekend on Saturday, Sunday, as we'll be action aplenty throughout the sessions, and then obviously the restart of each session with the time compression formula in place should make things interesting to keep the drivers close together. As we know that time compression has always created some nice good racing throughout the full 6 hours of racing that we are simulating the 24 hours. And by cars that have had a little bit of an issue, or they maybe come together and find themselves 2 or 3 laps down in their driving stint, with the time compression brings them back on the lead lap, but pretty much only on the tail of the field, almost being lapped again. So how we restart that, we basically do our formation lap, and both the GTE cars and the LMP2 car, it's single file, and they will go at the green, and everyone else is on the pit limiter. Well, everyone's on the pit limiter, I should say, going up to the front straight. And as soon as the green flag lights come on, the leaders can drop their pit limiter and off they go. And then everyone else will motor around to the left of the circuit at all times until their allotted time has come up, and then they can release their pit limiter and go. So and then they'll continue on their race. So we did a trial the other day. I waited 3 minutes going around, and I was basically just coming onto the first Daytona curve, and after the hairpin on the infield here, and that's where their first LMP2 car came and overtook me. And we can just see there, he had the Jetto had the quick reset button. We got to actually notify all our drivers that's not allowed in our sessions. These has been a practice session. We got damage off, so the guys can focus on their tyre runs and their fuel runs, and managing pressures and things like that, so they don't waste time and needing to go back to the pits for repair. Because as we know, most people, when you practice on your own, maybe do that way just so you can make sure your practice is beneficial and use all the time you can get. But during the race, we've got full damage, and we don't allow the reset button of your car onto track unless you find yourself on the roof. Now we got Lofvenish, as we said, he's teamed up with SSHADZZ in they're the defending champions here of the Daytona 24 hours. Well, not Lofvenish, but SSHADZZ is in the number 51 Cobell Motorsport car. and Loftus actually picked the number 50, but come race day on the weekend, he'll be in the 51. And Dado, here he is, he's trying again. He's back into his old faithful, the number 11 K-Max Motorsports, and he's teaming up with Colonel Lloyd. And they will be definitely looking for a podium or better. Yeah, just hopefully Lloyd is in it and he has no problems with his older Xbox. Most of us now are all on the Xbox One X and hanging out for, you know, maybe the new Xbox as well later in the year, over Christmas or maybe in the new year. And hopefully the release of Project Cars 3 and they can expand on what they've got here at the moment, which most of us enjoy. Gives us console races a little feel of what sim racing is all about, and most of us lap it up. And we've got a lot of our members currently, and one of the teams in the JP Sim Shed, Sado 15 and Lockie 55s, they've all moved to iRacing, and SSHADZZ has dabbled into iRacing and they're thoroughly enjoying it, so it's good to see them spread out their wings and move on and get into the world of very competitive esports, I guess, in the iRacing. So Lloyd, who's his teammate, has just gone a little bit faster than Dado with a 36.9. So that's going to be strong if they're running their race setup at the moment with higher fuel loads, which we might just go and have a quick look and just jump on the roof here and just see what that oh, so that's not very good. We've got a bit of a lag happening there with Lloyd. That's the problem that he gets every now and then. And if we look at the speedo, which I don't get the speedo to come up here at the moment. There we go. Yeah, running a little bit, probably mid-fuel run. Similar to what his teammate Dado's doing. Dado's coming into a nice strong pace. As I said, the fastest at the moment. We're looking at a 134.672 by Dark Racing in the number 43 RGR Sport. Both himself and his teammate Gear 3 Gaming haven't made it tonight for the final practice session. So they'll be interested to see what sort of times happen here in the night. I could imagine the track temperature's probably around that 12 degrees and ambient 7. And that's what it's been for most of the game, so it's fairly cold. We've got the actual race setting of the 25th of the 1st, 2020. So it is winter. And here he is, just causing right solar there, just to have a little bit of a lose. It's good to have this practice session so the guys get a feel of the cars coming up. It's been a while since we've been doing endurance racing with the mixed class. So yeah, it's definitely, the last time we did it was Le Mans last year, so it's been a good 6 or 7 months since we've been doing the multi-class. So it's just good for them to find and just be able to settle themselves, find their groove, keep their line and let the faster cars make that overtake. And it's also a good lesson for the guys, the faster cars that are lapping them, just to the problems that can cause the slower cars as well, so they don't push too hard and cause an accident at the same time. Now we'll look at Simo Racing. So Simo has been tremendously fast late half of last year. He's become very consistent, and he's teaming up with Highlander. And this is Highlander's number 67 Chip Ganassi Racing Ford. He ran last year as well, I think it was. So it looks like they're both running side by side, following one another at the moment, just checking their own lines, running pretty much full fuel tanks. Now these Fords like to chew up the fuel, so they're going to be a little bit handicapped. Highlander's running a lower fuel, just in front of his teammate on track. but they're definitely the Fords of Wrightsoa and RSJ, and the number 15 team at FAVU Racing, and also these ones that we're looking here, the 67 Chip Ganassi Ford of Highlander and Simo. They're going to be a very tough combination. Myself, Woody Lizard, and my teammate Metal Drive 05, we're going to be contesting in the number 92 Premier Motorsport Porsche 911 RSR. They are currently not. Metal Drive is, I think, trying to get in as we speak, but waiting for someone to be in the pits to maybe send him an invite. But I unfortunately can't send any invites in, but he's been going well with his times. Both me and Metal Drive have been running pretty consistent times in the 43s, very low 43s. And as we can see, Wrightsoa's in the 42.8, and he has done a 42 flat. But the fastest man at the moment in the other Porsche, the number 91 Porsche Racing, is Freight Trainer, and he's not here tonight. And he's actually looking for a teammate. So if anyone here watching the stream or watching the stream at a later date, like even tomorrow or before for the first session at 2 p.m. this Saturday, New South Wales Victoria time, please give us a hit. Come over to ANZCRL.weebly.com on the website, or find us on Facebook, or shoot me a message, Woody Lizard. Shoot me a message on Xbox, and we can try and tee up as long as you're from Australia and New Zealand, because Freight Trainer has been the fastest with a 41.906 in the Porsche in all our practices. So he's definitely there ready for a podium, and you could find yourselves in our history books as well. He's just after someone to take over in the first session, as he's got cricket during the day, and he's prepared to finish do the rest on his own, sessions 2, 3 and 4. So there's a little bit of a bait out there if you want to get in the limelight on the podium of a GTE or big chance. Freight Trainer's your man in the number 91 Porsche Racing. So if you want to send him a direct message, that's Freight Trainer with a capital F, REIGHT, and then no space, then Trainer, TRAINER. So give him a message on Xbox and just let him know, or you can message me, Woody Lizard, which is basically Woody and then Lizard, all one word. And we can try and tee up. And then we've also got Par. He's in that number 40 Pin Electron Motor Racing Ford GTLM. And Par's actually teaming up with Gaz 11 or 1112. And I'm just seeing if we don't look like we've had a time. We have had a time from Gaz 1112, and he's done a 143.840. So pretty much we got a Par doing a 143.839 at the moment. Basically the track temperatures don't change much during the day and the night, I've found in our testing. Might drop a degree or two, so 12 maybe drops down to 11. And during the day, I don't know, if we'll be lucky to see 14 degrees track temp. So yeah, so the times are pretty consistent throughout the night and the day. And he's obviously just getting some work done there. We might just go on board here with Jetto, see what how he's faring. You can see it's very dark there in the cockpit. These cars will be getting up to roughly just hit the 300 before they break into this bus stop. Just keep that very nice and shallow through those two right-hand corners, just to shorten up that bus stop and get a very good run. Probably the most critical run out of the bus stop, because this is where you get most of your top speed, maybe 310, 312. in drafts at least. We'll see what his top speed's going to be. Coming into the tri-oval here now. He's just shifted a bit. His gearing might be just a little bit out, I'd say, but he's still pretty fast with that gearing. He's probably got it there ready for if he's in a draft where he can just find himself those few extra Ks, because they do like to max out. They're very smooth by the looks of things. They're very not fighting the car with his steering. This is a beautiful section of the track. I love this. Flat out through the kink and into the what's this? Is this the International Western Horseshoe? I'll get all the names for the race, so we're not bubbling around with all the names of the corners. Not that there's too many. And this is where basically after 3 minutes of 60k speed limiter just on the exit there, I was pretty much got lapped in the GTE car if I had to wait around about 3 minutes of pit limiter time for the restarts of sessions 1 and 2. So you get around a little bit of the circuit. Yeah, Jetto's car's looking very nice. They should be pretty happy in that number 35 Oak Racing Nissan. And just dropping that little bit of speed by shifting. Maybe you could just shift maybe that touch a little bit earlier. Just try and run up, get at that 312. Most guys are sort of running into that first corner. We'll just see what Lockie gets into. He's just come out of the horseshoe. Back in the top of the timesheets, Lockie. So he's taking that nice and narrow. Got to be careful of any slowdowns, taking too much curb. The track does seem very simple, but there are some very little bit challenging corners just to get that ultimate lap time. It is a very good track just for endurance racing. You just get yourself in a groove. As you can see here, look, he's pumping 315. His gearing's just spot on. They've got great gearing, both Lockie and Sado. They probably might be angry seeing these on board, seeing the guys, just seeing them get that nice speed, not needing to make that little shift like Jetto was doing, which was losing him pace. Something to think about. We'll just have a look back here now at RSJ's joined, so that's also Rightso's teammate. Oh, he's actually been here as well, so not quite as fast as Rightso, but very handy teammate to have. He can keep it straight. The main thing is a lot of the number 2 drivers, or if you want to call them number 2s, you just got to try and just do the numbers during their session. That's what endurance racing is all about in real life as well. A lot of those drivers, that's what they're there for. It's just to knock over the laps, watch the time go down, and get that car back to them in one piece. So if you start pushing too hard, or if you get a little bit of a issue, have a bit of an accident with being lapped or anything like that, hit a wall and get some damage, that starts costing you time. But it is something that they got to think about. Sometimes that damage will cause them to spin again, so it's sometimes good to use that time compression to your benefit and pit early, and just try not to last it out, especially if it was early in your session. As you said, we've got 2 1-hour sessions and 2 2-hour sessions. So on Saturday we've got an hour session and then a 2-hour session, and that'll simulate a full 12-hour period all up. And then we're going to be looking at on Sunday from 9 o'clock in the morning, New South Wales Victorian time. to start session 3, and that's a straight off the bat 2-hour session, and that's probably the most important session out of all of them, because that's where you want to make sure if you're in the hunt, you want to stay in the hunt, and you don't want to be doing too many risky manoeuvres. You just want to keep circulating and get that ticket for that final 1-hour session from 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock. Now that'll be the run to the flag. We'll just go on board with these guys in the might just go back to right side because he's following, and we'll just go on board now. You see he's just getting that toe. Pushing 294. And RSJ's just found himself just losing the rear end there. Unfortunate. It's not hard to do coming into that first corner. The car gets really unsettled off the banking. You've seen the mirrors there, some other car coming behind. Don't know if it's one of those LMP2 cars. We'll soon see. I think it is by the way it's creasing. Watch it go past. Down the inside. Whoosh. There goes Lockie. Looks like he's shadowing Lockie. What's that? Ghosting, I should say. It looks like he's just having some trouble, RSJ, with his rear end. He needs to try and sort that out. You don't want to be doing that for 2 hours. Not very good. We'll just jump out of there. We'll have a look at what Lloyd's up to while his teammates in the pits. He's on a mid-fuel run. And let's see if he can get that 36 down to a mid-36. I think you're probably looking at race paces around that mid-36. We might just see what sort of speed he's doing down the end of the main straight as well. See if he can get to 300. Coming to the bus stop here. All these LMP2 cars, to get if you know your gearing's right, you need to be at least doing that 300 near that braking. And it looks like he's going to get that nice and easy. And he's got the benefit of having Dado, who's run this actual car last year. He's already up to that 300. About 315 on the anchors, and it looked like it's very stable coming into that corner as well, into the first corner. He's looking good, Lloydie. Someone that hasn't really done too much of the LMP2 cars. That's good to see. Dado's grabbed him. I'm just going to just see what Dado ran last year. For some reason, it's just running in my head that maybe he did run a LMP2 car. I know that he normally runs the GTE cars. No, he did run the he ran the number 5 Bolt in Motorsport Ligier last year, the Honda. And where did he end up? At the end, he ended up finishing 7th. actually just behind me. Both myself and Sato came 6th last year in the number 12 K-Max Motorsports. So his best time last year was a 36.958, I think it was, roughly. So he's already better than that. He's done a 36.4 now, so he's getting that time down. And we found generally, well, last year the track was actually wet for the majority of the race, at least 60% of the race. So most cars had a more of a conservative setup than what we have for this year, knowing that it's going to be a completely dry race. And Lockie's getting very close to breaking into the 34s. I think Simo, oh, he's just come into the pits. I think these guys here would be really wanting to try and get into those low 42s. They're kind of not showing the pace that they had earlier in the week. And Highlander did a 42.8, so he's not that far off his best time in saying that. And Simo Racing, he did a 42.5 at the first session that we did of the Royal before the 24. So yeah, they're basically on the pace that they've been doing. So they seem like they're on a steady pace all the time. Just managing it through there a little bit, through the bus stop. So now we'll just have a look at Pao. He's in the pits again. So it's just unfortunate we don't have the BMW here at the moment. We've actually have Hyperjuice in the number 25 BMW RLL. He's teaming up with Magic Hand. Both of those guys have been running some quick times, 42.9s in the BMW. And what else? I thought we saw a pretty good time. No, yeah, the 42.9s roughly. So anywhere in those 42s is going to be very competitive. I can imagine this race. We've got, I think we've got 6 or 7 of the 6 GTE cars, and 6. We've got to update the list actually of the LMP2 cars. So it's even through the field. I can just see those GTE cars. We've all been running pretty close times as a race pace around those 42s. It's going to be a very exciting race. It's all going to come down to a little bit of strategy. Some cars can make it in the 1 hour. Others are going to have a little bit of either conserve fuel or splash and dash. So they might just need to try and get that little bit of a lead to come in. And hope the other cars that are chasing them down make a few little mistakes trying to chase them down too. Put the bait out there for them. Try and chase. I believe these both these Fords, the BMW, we know can go through the whole session, whole 1 hour session, pitting once. So without pitting, I should say. So basically in the 2 hour session, they'll only pit once. Whereas the Porsche is very tight on the hour, and the Fords are definitely going to have to pit. And in the hour session, they're going to have to do probably a split 2 pits. So how they manage that? So either they short fill and have 2 stops, or do 1 long fill and then just do a quick splash near the end, or have a little bit of a splash at the start and then just run the longer ones. So the Ford are definitely the fox of the whole thing. They're the ones that have to be out in front and make the gap on the BMWs and the Porsche. And that's all we've got I believe, is the has been selected out of the options of all the GTE cars in the game. There was no love for the Ferrari, the Aston Martin, or the Chevrolet Corvette. Well, that could be taken up with Fish Racing 3. He may be entering that as a solo. So it'd be nice to see him in there, because that'll just vary it up and put the Chev in there, which he ran last night. I mean, last Sunday night, sorry, and he was doing 44, the low 44s. So that's not too bad. And that's only for a one-off. He hadn't done any practice before then. We're just looking here at Lloyd. Or is it Dado? Dado. Here's Dado. Just coming up here just to put a pass on par. So just running a bit deep. As you can see, visibility out of these mirrors are very hard, and sometimes you just can't see if you've cleared them, but the more they practice this and see that he was well and truly past him with his extra pace that the LMP2 cars can gather in the braking area. They hold a lot more pace, a lot more speed on the entry and through corners. We'll just sort of keep this speed on just so we can see what speed Dado. We know Lloyd, he was doing 315. Lockie's almost on a 35 flat. He's flying at the moment. He's really putting in, trying to chase down Dark. His best lap of a 34.672. Dark is the only driver that's got into Dark Racing 40 in their number 43. Was the only one that's actually got into the 34s so far in the 3 practice sessions we've had. Just see how can just a lot more practice for our guys just to get used to putting the laps on these slower cars. And come the final session or even the session 3, everyone should have that pretty much down pat. It should be a good spectacle, sessions 3 and 4 on the Sunday this weekend. But don't forget to tune in on Saturday. For when we start, we actually start with a practice session from 2 p.m. and we have a 30-minute practice session for all the guys that are doing session 1, which is an hour session in total. So we've got a 30-minute practice session, and then they'll have a 20-minute qualifying, which will sort the grid for a formation, manual formation, 2x2 start to the race. And the race will start at 3 p.m. local time, New South Wales Victorian time, and it'll be also 3 p.m. in game as well, but with ×2 time compression, so that hour will make the game time go to 5 p.m. And then we'll have basically a dinner break, 3-hour dinner break, and come back at 7:30 for the second race session. And we'll have our time compression up for all our drivers so they can see how long they're going to have to hold their pit limiter on for during the start of the race. So basically all the cars will put their pit limiter on, coming out of the final Daytona curve, banking corner, and they'll run towards the flag single file in order of how they finish, which we'll do as an organised qualifying session before the race session. And they will then run towards the flag once the green light shows. Both the leading LMP2 car and the GTE car will release their pit limiter and off they go. All the other cars will stick hard left on the track and just motor around the track with their pit limiter on. No weaving, no braking, and they'll just continue around the track until their allotted time has been reached, and then they will move off and with their pit limiter off, and their race will start. drivers have the option if they want to pull over and just wait for their time on the grass off the racing, so they don't affect anyone. But obviously that'll be a bit further penalty if they're not moving around compared to their competitors. So we limit the maximum that the time compression can end up giving someone would be 10 minutes. So 10 minutes is the maximum anyone will ever have to run around with a pit limiter on. Hopefully we don't have to get there, but that normally would happen if someone disconnects fairly early in one of the sessions. And basically time compression then will bring that close to around about 8 minutes sometimes if you've missed probably 30 minutes of racing, maybe 40 minutes of racing. So yeah, it'll be, hopefully we don't have any of that sort of problems with disconnects, so then that way there we will find most guys will be on the limiter no more than 3 or 4 minutes. Most will be bricked up to about 20 or 30 seconds, I'd imagine. So you'll be about 2 laps down in your session, and then come back into the next session and find yourself, instead of being 2 laps, which would be what for a GTE car, around about 3 minutes 20 or so, you'll probably find yourself needing to have your pit limiter on for around about 30 seconds or so. 30 to 40 seconds. So not too bad. That'll still keep you on the lead lap of your class. And as I said, 3 minutes going around this circuit with a pit limiter on will see you a lap down to the GTEs, to the LMP2 cars straight away. But obviously you're not fighting the LMP2 cars if you're in the GTE, but if you are 3 minutes in a LMP2 car, you will find yourself a lap down instead of a minute 34. Wow, I just realised that Lockie is absolutely flying. That's the fastest time we've seen by anyone in ANZCRL Combined Racing League around this track. I would love to see what that would put him on the leaderboards of the LMP2 cars. 134.141 people. That is absolutely flying in the number 3 JP Simshed Nissan Ligier Nissan. That is insane time. Well done to Lockie, managing that time. And Lloyd has now done a 35.5, so he's coming to speeds with this number 11 K-Max. Dado will be extremely happy to see what Lloyd is managing with that lap time at the moment. I believe Dado's actually going to take the final session. I think Lloyd's doing sessions 1 and 3. So he could be getting them into, and I believe Lockie as well is taking session 1 as well in the number 3 JP Simshed. So race on to these guys. Not too sure where if Darky's going to be taking session 1 or Darky or Gear 3 Gaming. If any of them are taking who's taking the first session in their number 43 RGR Sport Ligier. So as you can see, the times in the we've got right, so in a 41.979, so he's almost the same pace as what Freight Trainer did. He did a 41.906. Right, so it really believes that the pole position for a GT can really get into a low 41.8. So he's actually on high fuel at the moment, so I don't think we'll be seeing those sort of times from him. And we've only just got just on 8 minutes remaining, just under 8 minutes of this 1 hour practice session. We're going to do a 10-minute practice start. So they'll see him doing a formation. It'll be the in-game start time of 3 p.m. So that's 1500 hours in-game time, with all the settings that we'll see actually come Saturday for our race time at 3 p.m. And their cars are unstable in the rear. And as I say, Lucy's fast, but you got 6 hours of that. So hopefully that doesn't catch him. As you can see, he's locking up that brake as well coming in. He's really pushing hard. And Simo, here he is. Simo is showing some pace again, 42.6. As we said, he's come leaps and bounds throughout 2019 with us here at ANZCRL Combined Racing League. And as I would say, you can find us on the website aus-nzcrl.weebly.com. You can visit our website and you can check our history. We've been going since 2016 and we've been putting on good events on Xbox on Project Cars and Project CARS2, and we enjoy all the settings all the freedom that you get with the settings that the game allows you to do to replicate some of these iconic events from real life. And it's something that we enjoy. We'll be able to provide for our console races. And as consoles keep getting better and better, who knows what's in the future, what it might hold. I only hope it gets better and better. But here we got Simo. He's just really chasing down, trying to get a bit into the low mid 42s. He's with Highlander in the number 67 Chip Ganassi Ford. He's very low fuel at the moment, so he's obviously doing a qualifying run. Let's just go on top of his on the roof cam and see how he fares. Just running a bit too wide. I think he's got an LMP2 car bothering him behind him. Shame, because I don't think he's going to get another lap in with that fuel load. Looks like he's just laying it off a bit. I think he wants to make sure he can try and do one last run, conserve some fuel. There goes our fastest man there, Lockie. He's definitely doing some fast qualifying runs. He's really setting the standard here. Gone fastest from anyone in ANZCRL Combined Racing League in an official event. I'm not too sure what they do in their hot laps. Oh, he's gone in way too deep. It'll give him something to think about come qualifying. Just can't push it too hard. Very unstable coming off that banking. Lost that rear end. Really, everyone that you hear when they really start pushing, they start to have trouble that turn one with the rear end. Just coming out, stepping out. It's all about modulating the brake as best you can. Put a little bit of pressure on first, let it off, and then come back into it again, I believe. That's how I find I get around, not too bad. As soon as those rears lock up or come very unstable, coming off that banking, you're all history. And Lloyd again, so the pace is definitely, as the game does do in their live track, comes to life, especially when you've got half an hour to an hour in that time as the rubber starts building up. That's why we like to actually run a lot of our events. We run Sunday nights here in Australia. We run on Sundays. We always try and run a practice session before the qualifying and then the race, because it all adds to the track. When come by race, the track is probably the best it can be, so it makes it better than actually just running a quick qualifying and then straight into a race. If you do a practice session in the game, it actually does rubber up throughout that whole weekend session that you create on race night. Here he made that braking a lot better, a lot straighter. He'll get one more. No, he won't get another lap with fuel. This will be it. Let's see if he can get into the 33s. Hold on to your seats. I haven't been on board to him, but it just seems like power was a bit gentle coming on. Get good power out of this corner, just have to lead up to the final hairpin corner onto the banking then. Up into the banking. Oh, he's just pinched that rear brake. Unfortunately, Lockie. Lloyd's just come out of the pits. We might just get out of this roof camera and get back on track side, and we're looking at Loft to see what he can do. That's probably one of his best times that he's had a 35.5 before, so he's not too far off his best time. And he's obviously sharing this with SSHADZZ, so SSHADZZ will be very happy to see this time coming out of Loft finish. And SSHADZZ wants to keep his consecutive wins in place here at the Daytona 24 Hours. I believe he will be going for maybe 3 straight, if my memory serves me correctly. Yeah, it will be. He'll be going for a, I think three straight. The Daytona 24, because we started in 2018 running the Daytona 24 Hours, and he won that. He actually, what happened there? He actually beat myself. He beat me by 2 seconds. It was one of the closest finishes we've had. So yeah, he beat me by 2 seconds after 6 hours of racing. So unbelievable how that one panned out. How could I forget that? Alright, so it's got into the 41.9, so he'll be happy with that. The fastest what we've seen over the practices that we've done, this is our 4th practice session, is 41.906 by Freight Trainer in the Porsche. So it looks like he's still on it. Here, does he get any better? No, doesn't get any better. So that's all completed. And Simo's returned back. Let's just see what Jetto can do in the number 35 Oak Racing. And he's sharing that with Night Pegasus, I think. No, he's not. Jetto. Yes, he is with Night Pegasus, I think. Yeah. Oh, I don't think he did any better there. I'll just get a screenshot of all those times. And then I'll continue on for everyone, and we'll have this 10-minute practice race, so the guys can get into it. So it's going to be a random grid order. As you can see, it's changed it around. We got Lockie. He's got something to try and fight there. He's going to be on the 2nd row. He's 3rd. So this is going to be this is exactly the settings for session 1, start of the race, which is 1500 hours. We've got medium cloud, ×2 time progression, but it's going to be a 1 hour time race. This is only a 10-minute practice race for the guys. That's if everyone stays. Good if they stay just to see how it all goes. There's obviously licensing off and damages off, but it's good to practice that first 10 minutes. That's probably the most vital part of a session, of any session, the first 10-15 minutes, just to get yourself into that groove. So they'll be doing a formation lap as per the game, and they'll all be free to go as soon as the green flag is dropped. We got Dado, then we've got Loft Finish. Off finish. Lockie. Jetto in that oak coloured car. Lloydie, who is Daddo's teammate come the weekend. Highlander and Simo, both teammates, 1 and 2. I'll be sharing the same car. And then we got Right Sower. As I said, he's in that number 15 team FU Racing. He's also teamed up with RSJ, but then we've got Par 0666, the number 40 pin Electron for GTLM. That's a very nice looking car. So as you see them all just going around now. The leader can't go any faster than 120 kilometres an hour in the game, otherwise he gets a slowdown, or he's warned to slow down, otherwise he can get a penalty. All the other cars are free to go faster than 120, so if they're a little bit behind, they can catch up, obviously, up to the tail of the grid. And beautiful, nice sunny skies. We'll be greeting all these guys on Saturday. And after this, they'll be able to free to do if they need to do any more testing. We do the best we can for basically Le Mans 24 hours and the Daytona 24 hours. And our Bathurst 1000, because that all comes to our relates to our Triple Crown. We all like to try and run good practice sessions for everyone, give them plenty of practice, and that just really makes our racing a lot better as well. Everyone gets in. We're basically trying to force people to get into that practice mode. So it'll be interesting to see how Lockie jumps off the line here for this 10-minute little practice start, race start. So Daddo's just coming up towards the bus stop. And now the GTE cars, they can probably manage to leave a gap of around about 6 car lengths roughly before the game starts telling you that you must pick up the pace and get close to the field. So they can't really be gapped too much like they do in real life, but they can be pretty close to just so they're not so close to one another. Just separate them just that touch. And let's see if Lockie has any heroics coming into that first corner. It'll be a good little test, because they could find themselves exactly in this position come race day. So it's going to be a very good test for Lockie. If he makes a little mistakes, hopefully he'll take that away with him. So they'll probably hear those lights coming in soon. There we go. Go, and off they go. Oh, and we've got Vanish coming in hard. And Lockie has found himself out in the boondocks, unfortunately. Ooh. Daddo. Not a very healthy start. Hopefully they find all those little mistakes that they do and don't get so aggressive come the weekend. Sometimes, but these little practice starts, you do find them just starting to, they do get a little bit loose, a little bit let themselves fly a bit. And it's going to be one of these ones where we're going to have a GT leading the whole race. Jetto's out in the 35 oak racing. He's loving life. If only licensing was on, Jetto. Anyway, just keep it together, mate. And Highlanders, I wonder what, we'll just have a little look. little peekies just to see what fuel they're running. Oh, they're running low fuel. As you can see, guys, it's sort of just missing their markers and all that sort of stuff. Anyone watching this and you think, oh, this is a bit scrappy, but it is scrappy, I do agree, but it is a practice start, and you do find that come our race, it's a lot cleaner and a lot more competitive as well. Our history shows that. Ooh, kept that off that wall, Highlander. That was lucky. Now right sower. Oh, right sower's just left. He's just had a problem. Hopefully they're not having any issues, any glitches, but we've definitely now got Dado chasing down Jetto. Only 5 seconds behind. Well, let's see what Dado can do. Lockie's trying to get back through the field after coming undone. I just switched cameras to views just when I think he got tagged by either Lloydie or not too sure who it might have been. Could have even been this Loft Vanish maybe. I think he's had enough. So they're all running. I thought that they would have been all running pretty much full fuel loads, but they've gone for lighter fuel loads to try and maximise their little result here. But if I was there, Simo's done the right thing. He's done a full fuel tank, and that's what I think everyone should have done as a practice restart. Oh, not practice start of the race, just so they can get a feel of what the car's going to do, how it's going to behave. Because after that formation lap, you do find that the tyre pressures do drop. Your car's going to handle a little bit different. Well, not a little bit, sometimes quite a bit. And it will take about 2 or 3 laps just for that tyre pressures to come back and your car to feel good again. So add that to a full tank of fuel as well, and you can see where people come undone. And sometimes they blame the game. Rightfully so, you can blame the game, but you learn it, and you learn to play the game as it is. And that's like every other title. They all have their little flaws. Is it right? Is it wrong? Who knows? That's an open discussion that just goes on and on and on in all the forums. Me personally, I think Project Cars have done not a too bad a job for the time that they've been around, and hopefully they can improve with the acquisition there that Codemasters have taken them over, and hopefully that can help a little bit. But RSJ, even after his teammate Right Sail was so a little bit faster than him, he's got the lead of the GTE cars at the moment. And this is exactly what can happen in the race as well. That first session, it can be a little bit of a balls up and everyone really calms down, and at least that time compression can sort them out, keep them all in the running, and get into business by session 2. Session 1 is a good session to just get your feels out, try and keep it clean. Raw pace, yeah, not very important. I think it's all about just trying to keep it clean, climatise into the whole event. Knowing that time compression is just going to help you bring yourself back into that field. You say on that lead lap, so use that rear end again, RSJ. If it's brake bias, if it's maybe a little bit of slow bumps or something just not working for him when they're shifting the weight. Could even be their coast settings as well. That's one of the other things. How many clutches they're also got in running in their diff. And plenty of settings that you can adjust in these cars, and they all just do that little bit different in the characteristics of the car. And here comes Lockie, barnstorming back through the grid. He was 10th after the first corner. Now he's 3rd. Probably where he'll finish, number 3. And his race number. 3 minutes to go. There you go. He should be calling himself 3-3s. Tomato 3-3s. Great sauce. Love that sauce. And the 3-3 pickles. Don't forget them. Mate, that's what the Project Cars need, is a 3-3s sponsored car. Lockie could change his name to Lockie 3-3s. But yes, so they've actually been supported by JP Simshed. Anyone that's on iRacing has probably come up, especially in Australia and New Zealand, have probably raced against them. They do all the special events on iRacing and running a few of the V8 leagues, I think, in Australia now to getting the cars recognised. JP himself, he used to run with us back in Project Cars, the original game. And we had some good laughs together. And it's good to see what he's done. He had a vision. I remember him telling me that he had a plan. He wanted to build on it and make credit to what he's done. And he's got a good, strong team behind him. And some professional drivers as well that race in real life are amongst that team, the sim racing team, JP Simshed. So we've got both Lockie and Sado 15 who've only basically just joined their the JP Simshed team late last year. And here they go now. Well, Lockie's done not too bad a job. We've got Jetto that's probably going to be doing one more lap, maybe. I say he will. We'll get another lap through here. 7 laps. Looks like someone else has spun. Looks like Lloydie's spun because Lockie is now coming to 2nd. There's not really much going on. Pars there in 7th. He's about 6 seconds behind Highlander. And here's Simo running around. Last lap was a 43, which isn't too bad at all on full fuel load. So look out, everyone. So that's a pretty healthy time. We're looking at probably maybe getting a bit lower than 43s, but that's not too bad. We'll just see, yeah, Jetto's actually on his 7th lap, so this will be the last lap around. So this will give Jetto just a taste, and Pegasus. Oh, and no, he's sorry about that. Yeah, with Pegasus. Just knowing what they might be up for, they can see how incidents can happen. They might be leading this race in the first session. The rate this is going, they could be leading this for a good half an hour of the race. We're we're 10 minutes through. And he's got 11-second lead, so even if he was holding on to that for a second a lap that Lockie gained on him, you're probably looking at another, well, that's another 10 minutes. So there's, not 10 minutes, sorry, that's 11 laps, sorry. So he's done 7 laps in 10 minutes, so there's 14, so a good 20 minutes will be leading that race. So it's just how things can roll. It's just some points that people that might watch this back can understand that is endurance racing, things that go wrong, and if you just keep your head down, It can all pay off in the end. So there you go. Jetto just won that. Not that it means anything really. It's just a practice of the start of the race, and Lockie's done well. And that's exactly what he would need to do. But just remember, damage is off on this practice start that they've done leading up to the weekend. So come the weekend, it'll be full damage. So some of these cars would have had to have pit as well. From the damage that they would have occurred from their little incidents. So Jetto could have actually been probably 40 seconds in front, who knows, because pretty much all the LMP2 cars got involved some way or the other. And RSJ, who hasn't been the fastest throughout the practice, and there you go. As you see, he's going to take out the little practice race of the GTEs with his teammate Wrightsower, we picked earlier. They're going to be a force throughout the weekend, as is Highlander with his teammate Simo Racing. He's the only one that actually ran a full tank of fuel through this practice start. And there you go, he's managed a low 43 and catching up on the back of Par. Par's just coming through to finish off. So there you go. So thank you for tuning in, everyone. I'm not going to hold in too much longer after this now. So yeah, come and join us this Saturday. From the stream will be starting anywhere from 2 to 2 o'clock on to about, the race start is actually 3 p.m. New South Wales Victorian time. So come and join us. Find us here at our ANZCRL Twitch channel. The whole 4 sessions will be broadcast on our Twitch channel. And we'll look forward to bringing you the race. There'll be myself, Woody Lizard, Dark Racing 40 and Sado 15, I believe, will be all helping out throughout the weekend. So rest assured you'll be able to see all the 4 sessions, a total of 6 hours of racing. So we look forward to seeing you on Saturday. All right, good night.